All right, it is 6 o'clock. We're going to call the Buildings and Grounds Committee meeting to order. Roll call, Judd Lofshe.
Juan Cifuentes.
Brian Marino.
Andy Allen.
Bob Halverson.
We have any public comments?
No public
Okay,
comments.
cool. All right, informational items. 3B, City of Aurora Mastodon Lake improvements.
No, the facility assessment? No?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Facility.
Oh, I'm
assessment
sorry. I
first.
thought that was
There's-
further. Got it.
Yeah, this is just a further update.
Yep.
I think October, we brought you a proposal from Corder and Clark to do a facility assessment that has been done from 2015.
Mhm.
We did talk about it a little bit at that time to bring it back right about now. So we're bringing it back to you and see if that's something you'd like to either move forward with their proposal or go out and do a request for a proposal. And Dr. Engel and I, Michael Engel and I could go out and write a request for a proposal and send it out to potentially multiple firms and get proposals come back to look at our facilities and give their assessment of it.
You know, I think as a matter of course, I listened to the Finance Committee meeting. I love Cordigan. I think they're great. They know our buildings somewhat, but I think, I don't know, for public money, do we need to go out for anything over 25? Aren't we supposed to go out for a bid?
Yeah, I mean, a request for a proposal is essentially the same thing. A bid, it's just different terms. Proposal, because a bid, we'd exactly structure what we wanted and how we wanted it. A proposal allows a company, Andy Allen Inc., let's say, to give their proposal on what they do and the services, and there can be differentials between those. It's up to us to evaluate and kind of negotiate that based on what we want and what they're proposing they would do for us.
So which are you proposing?
Now it's still following very much a bid process. It's called a request for proposal. It's written very much the same way, but it's more open-ended. It's what we did for Waldo Stage and other pieces. Mike?
Okay.
And
History and projects and everything.
and I still, I mean, I get where Judd's going off on this, but you know, they know our buildings, and that's where I'm stuck at. You know, if we bring somebody else, they may not know what the history of it. So I'd prefer if we go that route, but I'll go with whatever the committee recommends.
What do you think, Brian?
There's nothing wrong with new people, right? But like Juan said, you know, the histories, and especially like the high school, we're dealing with
Yeah.
older buildings. Bard was old, you know.
Yeah.
So but the same thing, you know, like whatever is the best option for us, the best history. Obviously, we have to look over resumes, their projects have done, and obviously they've done so much work in our community, you know, and from the city part all the way to the school district. So,
Mhm.
and I haven't heard any projects or none of the buildings fall or the HVAC systems collapse. So that's a good sign, right?
So we've done this, it's been a while, right? But I mean, it's just,
2015, it was done by an outside company. At the
Mhm.
time, Corder and Clark was our architect still at that time.
Mhm.
We then had to give the information to them, and then they had to translate it all into their systems to manage our district at that point. So it was not, we had to pay and spend some extra time for them to do that.
do you know what it cost, that old one by any
I
chance?
think the older one was around 105, 110,000 maybe. I don't have that current number with me.
Okay.
As more or less, I can actually work with Corder and Clark. If that's the direction you'd like to go, I could talk to them further and get that refreshed and bring it back to you, which is fine. I just need to know a direction and you wanted me to bring this back to you. So
My
what
direction would be if there's any way to get the price down. That's all. That's all. That's all.
Well, I can work with Corder and Clark and see if there's anything creative they may have
Yeah.
and bring
Any-
that back to you at the next meeting.
Anything there can be cut if it can be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will do.
And Andy, Mr. Allen, just to refresh, the reason we're looking at this is because we want to make sure we're able to be proactive a little bit more so with
Correct.
our future projects, doing things that are going to be preventative maintenance as much as possible, as opposed to reactionary. That's part
That
of
is
the
correct.
rationale
There's
right now.
we're getting on a path for some stuff that we're doing more proactively, working with them more over the past year, but there's a lot of reactive stuff we do hasn't been caught over the years because we haven't had that assessment. So tuck pointing is one example of here and there that because we haven't had a more recent assessment, we don't know where all the buildings lie. So then it pops up as water infiltration problems that we didn't know existed.
So this assessment would be the roof, the HVAC.
Structure,
boiler,
electrical,
everything,
plumbing,
elevator. Okay.
most of that. I mean, plumbing and electrical, structural of the building is probably the most important pieces. I do know there is an option to have the sewer lines investigated for an optional price. For example, if you remember last year, I remember we had an issue at Simmons where we had to do some emergency work to clean that up, but that's an optional thing. So like I said, I can work with them and come up with some different options for us to look at and bring that back hopefully by the March meeting, and then we can have this discussion again.
On the timeline, we're okay.
It'd be good now because that way it could get into their spring and summer plans to have them start coming into the buildings and start looking at them early. And then by the time the weather breaks, that way they can get outside and look at things too.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Let's move on to 3B, City of Aurora Mastodon Lake improvements.
So thank you. As I brought you last time, I didn't really have any schematics or drawings. So the drawing on screen is Mastodon Lake. On the north side, it's just the cardinal directions there. You'll see the gridded out area, and that is the practice areas and football practice fields behind Gates Elementary. And that's the area they would like to use to store some of this dredge material in those large socks. I talked to them a little bit more. Can you go to the next slide, please? There is the actual layout of that area, of the field area. They proposed going around the outside to make sure we can use the practice fields. Specifically, if I brought up a Google Maps, but I won't do it today, I had concerns about them taking up areas of the practice field. They say they are not going to do that. They're just needed areas for drying. Previously, they talked about spreading the material and leveling out the field. They have actually rescinded that at this time, thinking that may not be their best option, which I think we're okay with. But they are bringing back some other renderings. They're still developing a plan. They may put some swales and berms on the edge of the property near the bike path just to make it more aesthetically pleasing in spots like that. So I'm waiting to see more. I told them, well, I'll continue to inform you guys as this committee to get your opinions and review. And then before we ever move forward to actually agreeing to it.
So Andy, they're putting a chain link fence around.
No, they're chaining part of it. That's not a great representation. It's only part of it to keep the socks and people out of those things from the mess that it could be or anything in that equipment. But yes, it does show chain link fence as temporary.
But it shows it around the entire.
It does. And this is the only graphic I had because I asked that question immediately when I talked to him the other day. Because the first thing I said was, it looks like by your fence, and when I'm comparing it to a live map that you're taking up the football field, and they came back and email said that that's not our intention. Our intention is going off to the side and around it.
As long as people can get in, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So I'm waiting for a little more hard renderings. I'm not getting great renderings quite yet, but I still think they're trying to figure it out on their side. So,
and for the privilege of doing this, they're going to do something for us. You said, right? Spread.
I think they're going to do some more aesthetically pleasing things on the outside of the property near the bike path and the walking path, but I don't have that hard information quite yet.
Okay.
That was a email conversation we had just last week. So,
okay.
So you anticipate, Andy, next meeting, bringing it next B&G?
I'm going to keep pushing them, keep giving me updates so I can bring it back and we can just keep this live discussion. That way, if you have questions, I can ask them and come back to you with that information. I can report back. So,
okay.
Thank you.
Next is resolution 3C for the sale disposal of personal property IT.
Yes. So that is just our standard recycling of damaged equipment, old equipment that's been taken out that we can no longer use. Most of it's way past its useful life. Could be anything from servers, battery backup, student devices, that type of stuff. All the new computers have been going out to staff. We are keeping all those old computers they had and reusing the parts, pieces, and individual units to keep stretching out their time with the district. So we're using the money spent effectively.
So I see. So this is, I don't mean to question everything. There's like iPads and Chromebooks. And
Yes.
I know we have all these rules, but I mean, if they work, can we send them out of to somebody who could use them, or they just don't work?
So the Chromebooks generally are not salvageable by the time they get to this point. We've harvested parts out of them, or they've been destroyed, cannibalized to that point. The iPads generally we sell to another company that actually does reuse them. You reuse parts and sell them outside of there, and then they pay us. So that's how that works. I don't want to take on, from my perspective, us doing some type of market selling something out of here because that puts some liability on us that I don't want. Because as soon as a staff member or a community member gets hold of the device and it fails a day later, that's hard to keep track of. And then that puts us in a hard position. I need a lot more staff to manage something like that. And we don't have room to store a lot of stuff at the Hill. So that's why you see a lot more of these recycled. You see about 3 or 4 during the year. Just because once we get about 3 or 4 pallets, we try to get it out as fast as possible.
We can't give it to a third world country or somebody.
I'm sure some of it does go. I just don't manage that in between. We have 2 recyclers we use. One is local in Montgomery
Oh.
here in the old Lion plant. Another one is Digital Red, who is up in, I think, Elgin. They both do a really good job. We've had really good success with both companies. And the other one that does Apple products like the iPads you saw is, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but they've Diamond Assets. Thank you, Karina.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but
Okay.
they do a really good job. What happens is with the iPads, once they get past a point in the max, they don't update anymore. And at that point, our apps start failing on them, so we can't really use them anymore. And I think it's kind of irresponsible if we're going to sell them or rehand them out to someone else. I'd rather someone else take that responsibility away from us and deal with it that way.
So this is to secure a buyer, so we don't worry about scrubbing all the hard drives or all
Nope,
that?
they do that for us.
Okay.
Most of it's not spinning drives or flash drives, so it's a little bit different than it used to be. The Apple products are wiped by us before they even leave because it's part of our management system. When we pull them out, they get wiped.
Okay.
Yep.
This is just informational too, right?
Yes.
There's no, okay. All right. Last thing is work order summary.
Sure, and I'll go over that a little bit. So delivery orders did a pretty good job. We did January, we had Christmas breaks, so it was a little slower. 50%, 6% was completed on time, 40% was a little over 7 days. It's all dependent on what's being moved and what they can get into in the buildings. So that's on par with most other things. As far as the maintenance order, 319 maintenance orders. I did expect an uptick in that from the very, very cold weather we had with some of the HVAC stuff, plus the recent little issue we had at the high school with a coil breaking and doing a little bit of damage there. That's been since cleaned up, but still they're doing a 74% rate of what's coming in and cleaning up and getting it out. So that's very good. I'm very proud of that team. We did just post last week for 2 new maintenance mechanics. And AJ, how many have we had apply so far? Tina? Already 4 applicants. So we're hoping to get that out there 2 or 3 weeks and start that interview process, get a couple more onboarded.
Cool. All right. I don't have anything else. Anybody?
No, I just wanted to say, I mean, I'm looking at this spreadsheet here where it says who's completing or the work assigned by users. And Esteban and Joseph have quite a bit.
Yeah, he's one of the delivery guys.
Oh,
Yes.
All right.
So, and then Jose was out a little bit because of maternity, and he just had another child, so Esteban had to do a lot more filling in. So we got a little more tickets.
Okay. Minor. Yeah.
Could be one
That's
box
what I'm
or one
pointing out.
pallet.
They're
You never
working
know.
hard.
I would say just another kudos to our B&G department when it came to the coil there and the issues it caused in the high school there. High school team responded accordingly, but then also on top of that, our B&G guys did an excellent job of getting everything cleaned up there and getting everybody back to their locations except for one room within 24 hours, I believe, correct?
Yes. I mean,
Thank you.
yeah, the water perpetrated a lot of places there in the low areas, and they did a great job responding. I know AJ and the supervisor team called in all the employees that work in that building that day, since there are no kids, and tried to have them come in early and help complete that work in a good fashion. So worked out very well.
Awesome.
Nice. Nice job. Anything else? Nope. All right. Let's adjourn at 6:13.
Woohoo.